Hey everyone, so today we'll be covering some factorization methods, starting with the highest common factor, and then we'll move on to difference of two squares. Then we'll cover the trinomial, the sum and difference of two squares, and then lastly we'll cover grouping. The highest common factor step is always going to be your first step. So before you check if it's a trinomial or group or difference of two squares or sum and difference of two squares, you always have to check, is there anything common in both these terms, and then you move on. Okay, so we're going to start with the highest common factor. The highest common factor is all about taking out the common thing in your sum, okay, and ending up with one term. With factorization, you know that you reach your answer when you have one term at the end. So let's say you had AB plus AC. Okay, you check. You have two terms. What's common in both terms? The A, right? Take out the A, and then on the side, you divide AB divided by what's common. The A cancels out, and then you have B plus AC divided by A, and what do you have left? The C. You don't need to do this all the time. As you do more sums, it becomes natural, I guess. Okay, let's try another example. So let's say you have 15x squared plus 9x to the power of 5. Now you have to think about a number that goes into 15 and 9, and then in terms of the exponents you have to choose the one with the lowest exponent. Okay, it being highest common factor, it's easier to remember highest common factor, so I'm going to choose the one with the lowest exponent. So what number goes into 15 and 9? Yay, 3. And between x squared and x to the power 5, which one is the smaller exponent? X squared. Open bracket. Then you're going to divide 15x squared divided by 3x squared, because that's what you took out. 15 divided by 3, then you have 5. X squared and x squared cancels out, so you have 5 left. Plus, then you have 9x to the power of 5 divided by 3x squared. Divide by 9 divided by 3, then you have 3. Remember, if you're dividing, you subtract your exponents. So it's going to be 5 minus 2, which gives you x to the power of 3. So you have 5 plus 3x to the power of 3. And that's where you stop. You don't go back and multiply in because you have one term. If you go back and multiply in, you end up with the same thing that you had at the top. And that starts a never-ending cycle. Okay, one more example. Let's say you have 2ax plus y minus 3bx plus y. Right, so what's common in both terms? It's not similar to what we have done before, but if you look, your brackets are the exact same. So a way to do it, to make it much easier, you could say let x plus y equal k. This you just write at the side of your sum, right? So x plus y is now k. So 2a k minus 3b k. Now when you look at this, you can immediately see k. You could take out the x plus y and work with it, but you want it to be simpler. You just want to see it, right? So what's common is the k. Okay, take the k out, and then you have 2ak, open bracket, 2ak divide by k. K cancels out and you have 2a left. Minus 3bk divided by k. K cancels out and then you have 3b. But they didn't give it to you like this. It wasn't k, so you have to change it back. Okay, so it would be x plus y, this is the k now, 2a minus 3b as your final answer. And that is how you work with the highest common factor method. Okay, now we'll move on to difference of two squares, my favorite. Okay, so the deal with difference of two squares is that you have to manipulate everything to the square. To the square, right? So let's say every single number that you have should be something squared. Okay, and then after you do that, then you introduce your two brackets, and it's always going to be plus and minus. Always going to be plus and minus after you manipulate everything to the square. Okay, what do I mean by that? Let's say, oh, and also it's called difference of two squares, so it has to be a negative. So let's say you have a squared minus b squared. If it was a squared plus b squared, the plus makes the sum irreducible, so you can't do anything to it. But if it's a negative, then it's difference of two squares, because difference means minus. Okay, so let's say it's a squared minus b squared. Is everything manipulated to the power of 2? Yes. Now you can introduce your two brackets. It's going to be plus, it's going to be minus. Okay, one for you, one for you, one for you, one for you. And that's your answer. Everything is one term. Yay. Okay, another one. So you have x squared minus 25. Now is everything manipulated to the square? This one is, but this one is not. So you have to find a number squared that gets you back to 25. And that's 5 squared, right? So x squared minus 5 squared. You didn't change the sum, you just manipulated it. So it's back. If you, well, basically this is 25, you didn't change anything. Okay, everything is manipulated to the square. Introduce your two brackets, plus and minus. X there, 5 there, and 5 there. Okay, another one. Okay, now with factorization, HCF is always going to be the first step. HCF, whatever sum that you're doing, always HCF first. Always check if there's something that's common in both terms, and then go and look whether you can group, whether it's a trinomial or anything else. Okay, so always take out your highest common factor, always first. Okay, so what's first? Let's HCF first. Is there something that I can take out? Yes. What's common? The 2. Take out the 2, then you have a to the power of 8 minus b to the power of 8. The 2 is isolated. Now you check, okay, can I go any further with this sum? Yes, you can, because you can manipulate what's inside your bracket to the power of 2. Okay, so then 2, a to the power of 4 to the power of 2 minus b to the power of 4 to the power of 2. If you were to multiply the 2 back in, it's 2 times 4, that gets you back to 8. 2 times 4, that gets you back to 8. So you can get back to the answer, right? Everything is manipulated to the square. So now you can introduce your brackets. Let's just get that. You can introduce your brackets, okay? The 2 stays, you're not working, you're working inside your brackets now. There are your 2 brackets. It's a to the power of 4 plus 5 minus a to the power of 4, because you have 2 of them. So it's not a to the power of 2, it's a to the power of 4. A to the power of 4 and a to the power of 4. B to the power of 4 and b to the power of 4. Can you go any further? Yes, you can. This is a plus, right? So I can't do anything here. But here you have a negative and you have something that you can manipulate to the power of 2. 2 a to the power of 4 plus b to the power of 4 is going to stay. Then this I'm going to manipulate again to a square. A to the power of 2 to the power of 2 minus b to the power of 2 to the power of 2. It's going to be 2. This just stays the same. Introduce your 2 brackets. Plus minus a squared, b squared, b squared, b squared. Can I go further? Yes, yes you can. Because if you look here, this is another one, right? Okay, so we're just gonna, this is gonna stay the same, so it's gonna be here. Introduce your 2 brackets, plus minus a, b, and b. And that is your final answer. 2 open bracket a to the power of 4 plus b to the power of 4, close bracket, open bracket a squared plus b squared, close bracket, open bracket a plus b, close bracket, open bracket a minus b, close bracket. And that is the difference of 2 squares. Now we're going to cover the trinomial. This one is a little bit more specific, but it's just as easy as the rest of them. Okay, key with trinomials is that if you have 3 terms, it's most probably a trinomial. Okay, so let's say you have x squared minus 5x plus 6. We'll cover the theory with this sum. How do you know what the signs in your brackets are going to be? If this sign is a positive, the signs in your brackets are going to be the same. Okay, so it has to be a negative and a negative, or a positive and a positive. Okay, the number, this last number is the number you're going to get the factors. Okay, so you have to get the factors of 6. 1 times 6 and 3 times 2. Then you have to choose a pair of numbers that gets you back to this number here in the middle. You have to get back to negative 5. Carry the sign with you. You have to get back to negative 5. Then you choose, okay, I have to have the same sign. So which one will get me to negative 5? Minus 6 plus 1 gets me to negative 5, but I have to have the same sign. So it has to be negative 3 and negative 2 that gets you to negative 5. So negative 3 and negative 2 gets you back to negative 5. And then here goes your x, and there's your other x. Okay, now let's say you have a squared minus 7a minus 8. Now you have a negative sign here, which means that your signs in the brackets will be different. So it's either, well, it's going to be a plus and a minus, or the minus comes first and then the plus. Okay, then this number, again, you get the factors. It's always going to be the same number, this one. 1 times 8, 2 times 4, and that's about it. Okay, how would you get to negative 7? No, it's fine. How will you get to negative 7? Okay, minus 8 plus 1 gets you to negative 7. So minus 8, positive 1, and then a there, and then a there gets you to negative 7. Yay! Okay, so that's mainly how it works with a trinomial. Let's do 2 examples. So let's say you have x squared plus 6x plus 9. We get the factors of this number, so 1 times 9 and 3 times 3. This is a positive, which means your signs have to be the same in your brackets. Okay, so let's introduce our brackets. We have to get to positive 6. 3 plus 3 is 6, right? So we know it's going to be plus and plus. 3 there, x and x. It ends here, we have one term at the end. Okay, let's do another one. Let's say you had 2x squared minus 2x minus 12. Before you conclude that this is an advanced trinomial, because an advanced trinomial has a number in front of the x squared, okay? So before you conclude that it's an advanced trinomial, first check, is there a common number? Okay, can I take out the highest common factor? And yes, there is, because 2 goes in everywhere. So if you take out the 2, then you have x squared minus x minus 6 left. Okay, 6, you take out the factors, because if you look right there, this is a trinomial isolated from the 2. So you have 1 times 6 and 3 times 2. You have a negative, which means your signs are going to be different. And you have to get to negative 1. There's a 1 here, right? You have to get to negative 1. So you have 2 there. Introduce your 2 brackets. You have to get to negative 1. So it's going to be plus minus. Minus 3 plus 2 will get you to negative 1. X and x. And that is your final answer.
I'm wide awake, can you feel my heart? 'Cause I feel yours. Watch out, I'm